The first episode of Reacher Season 2 begins in the Catskill Mountains, New York, 2 hours north of Manhattan. A chopper flies overhead and drops a guy out. He collapses on the ground, dead. Murfreesboro, Arkansas, AP, Jack Reacher is shopping at a second-hand store. He delivers his clothing to the store clerk, instructs her to wash and sell them, and prepares to buy the new ones he's wearing. She says it'll be $20, but he points to a sign that reads 50% discount, so it'll be $11. She claims her employer forgot to remove the sign, so he tells her he'll walk to an ATM across the street and get cash to settle the balance. Reacher stands in line at an ATM. A wounded and injured lady stands in front of him, frantically extracting cash. Reacher notices a vehicle across the street and suspects something is wrong. "Don't turn around, I can help you," he says to the woman. "Did you get carjacked?" She confirms, revealing that her child is in the backseat and that the man is armed. "This won't take long," says Reacher. He approaches the automobile and smashes the window through, using his jacket to cushion the impact of the shattered glass. He knocks the guy up, forcing his head between the car doors, and then grabs his gun from him, extracting the ammunition. The mother and her kid have been reunited. Reacher instructs her to contact the cops and hand in the ammunition. She inquires as to his identity, but Reacher departs, stating that he does not wish to become involved. Reacher obtains a receipt from the ATM and carefully examines it. He returns to the second-hand store and hands up $30 to the shop clerk. He claims he needs a new jacket since his old one is stained with blood. He also requests to use the store assistant's phone since he received a message from a buddy. Reacher then contacts Francis Neagley, a former member of the 110th MP Special Investigations Unit, which he supervised. The ATM transaction indicated that she had made a distress call, which triggered the call. She informs him that one of their previous team members, Calvin Franz, has been murdered and that he must travel to New York. Reacher adds, "Without hesitation, I'll let you know when I land." He then exits the store, handing the phone back to the shop clerk. Back in Time Rock Creek several years ago in Virginia, Reacher is dressed in an army uniform, and Calvin Franz comes to visit him and wonders why he is here. Reacher informs him that he saw him resolving an issue between two men and thought he had a good head on him and would fit in well with his squad. Reacher and Franz enter the 110th MP Special Investigations Unit's headquarters, a run-down room. The troop is joking around and playing games. Among those we see are Francis Neagley and David O'Donnell. Reacher confesses that the room they have is a shambles, so he orders everyone to relocate their asses and clean up the mess. Back in the present, in Williamsburg, New York, Reacher walks into a coffee shop and meets up with Neagley, who is waiting for him. As she watched his travel and arranged his arrival, she got him a hot drink and lunch. She is a private investigator who shows Reacher the files on Franz's murder. She informs him that he has been away from his house for a week. Angela, Franz's widow, contacted to inform her of what had occurred. They also had a son, it turns out. Reacher examines the images and concludes that Franz was tortured and thrown from a helicopter. Neagley inquires about the next steps, as she has attempted to contact other members of their team but has been unable. Reacher advises they go meet Franz's widow since they don't want cops handling their friend's murder case. Reacher observes a black Sudan automobile parked nearby as they leave the coffee establishment and becomes suspicious of it. A bald man with a notebook is introduced as a spy from the dark Sudan. Trevor Saropian, another suspicious-looking man in a sedan, is watching on. He calls someone and says, "She just met up with the big one," clearly referring to Reacher. From their automobile, Neagley and Reacher attempt to contact David O'Donnell. They leave a voicemail requesting that he return their call. Reacher and Neagley are visiting Franz's widow. Mikey, her kid, is watching television. His mother instructs him to go draw in the kitchen. Reacher requests that she guide them through the events of the day. Franz turned out to be a private investigator. He was out on business, and when she returned home, their home had been plundered. They inquire if she was aware of any cases he was working on, but she responds that he never brought work home. He'd seemingly ceased performing risky work. She believes that there may be anything in his office that might provide them with hints. She gives Reacher the keys. Before they leave, Mikey pipes up with, "You do not mess with the special investigators." Neagley asks Mikey if his dad taught him that. Reacher notices the black sedan parked outside the house. Saropian is coming out of a hotel on the phone with a man called Shane Langston, who asks him if the manager talked. He says no, but he pays off the concierge, who reveals that Neagley checked into this hotel under the name Sarah Connor and ordered adjoining rooms. Saropian asks Langston who Sarah Connor is. He replies that he doesn't give AS*T. Langston instructs him to keep a close check on the hotel as well as on Reacher and Neagley. Reacher and Neagley arrive at Franz's office in Three Rivers. They find it trashed, but Reacher believes it's an act of frustration since they didn't find what they were looking for. He discovers a photograph of the 110th. Neagley requests the keychain from Reacher. She claims Franz was astute, therefore he probably kept his valuables in a safe deposit box. She notices the US post office across the street and notices Franz has a mailbox key on his necklace. Reacher remarks on Neagley's intelligence. She is aware of it. They are outside the United States Post Office, which is closed because it is after 5 p.m. Reacher and Neagley have returned to the hotel. They catch up by playing cards. She claims to be doing well and has received 2 promotions at work. Reacher claims he has tried everything again with no success. Neagley asks whether he tried Dixon, implying that she and Reacher had a thing. He argues that nothing occurred since it was inappropriate because they worked together. When Reacher loses a game of cards, he chooses to retire to bed. He assures Neagley that he'll reimburse her for the hotel when his pension deposit arrives. Backstory: the crew is drinking in a pub. A uniformed man approaches them and informs them that they are not permitted to drink in uniform. He informs Neagley that she does not belong here because she is a junior in an officers' club. If she doesn't go, he threatens to haul them all out. Reacher takes a step forward and asserts himself. "We have 12, you have 9, the guy responds. Reacher retorts, "That's a shame, 3 short." A man is thrown out of a window moments later, and a battle ensues between both parties. The squad is drinking, playing guitar, and dancing around a campfire. Reacher instructs Neagley, "Do not mess with the special investigators." He claims he now knows they can all work together because of how they all stuck together throughout the fight, and he admits he organized it to watch how they all reacted. They pose for a group photograph. There is a strange dream scenario in which Franz approaches Reacher, beaten and injured, and asks, "They tossed me from a helicopter, Reacher, what are you gonna do about it?" A well-dressed man arrives at LAX and informs customs that he has come to sightsee and has nothing to declare. He burns his passport in the bathroom. Reacher and Neagley have returned to the post office. They devise a strategy to locate Franz's deposit box. Reacher will begin with the large boxes, but Neagley will serve as a distraction by engaging the clerk who claims to be a die-hard stamp collector. Reacher places the key in several boxes in an attempt to discover the correct one. An elderly lady alerts the clerk to the unusual activities, but Reacher arrives just in time, grabs the letter, and they go. They discover a flash drive but are unable to test it since Neagley's laptop lacks the necessary connector. Reacher claims that he needs a gun first and that he must first stop at a church. At a church in a difficult neighborhood, he asks the priest for assistance in finding his cousin, who has a serious drug problem and lives on the street, and wonders where he could be. The priest offers him a place but warns him that stepping through there alone would result in his death. Reacher finds the street, drives over an addict, and headbutts him. He kicks another person, snatches his money and gun, and drives away. Back in Los Angeles, the well-dressed man meets 2 men who give him fresh passport identities. He then murders both guys since they now know too much. He then cuts one of their throats and stabs the other in the stomach before fleeing. Reacher returns to the motel. He notices Neagley, and they both enter the room, only to discover that it has been looted. O'Donnell appears and takes Reacher by surprise. He verifies that he discovered the location in this manner. O'Donnell is enraged at Franz's murder because he loved that kid, and he asks, "Who are we killing over it?" To get access to the flash drive, Reacher, Neagley, and O'Donnell attempt to guess Franz's password. They don't have much time to guess because time is running out. According to O'Donnell, it may be Reacher because he was Franz's hero. It is right, and they have been admitted. Under the identity Andrew McBride, the well-dressed man is booked on a trip to Denver. This name is on the list that the team retrieves from the hard drive. There are at least 10 names that begin with the letters AM. They realize they need extra manpower for the inquiry and proceed to find Swan, a member of their squad. The episode concludes with Reacher, Neagley, and O'Donnell hunting down and banging on Swan's door. When there is no response, Reacher breaks in and the squad explores the area. They discover his dog dead from dehydration, and Reacher believes Swan would never let a dog die from thirst, thus Swan is most certainly dead. They can't contact the rest of the crew, and with Franz proven dead and Swan presumably gone as well, O'Donnell asks Reacher what he's thinking. I'm thinking there's someone hell-bent on taking out the special investigators, and they're coming after us, Reacher adds. Good.